Maxime Amous. Hello. How are you, Maxime?
Hello. Hello, Sergiusz. Fine. How about you? How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for joining me in the studio, or actually not in the studio, but online.
Thank you
I'm
for
really
having me.
happy. I'm really happy we can have this little conversation because you and I have met during the certification program in France for interim managers. And it's always interesting to get to talk to people who have very different backgrounds, and yet somehow they have similar experiences because they come from
Yeah,
the world of management. And I loved your story. If it's okay for you, I'll just very briefly characterize it. Is that
sure.
okay? So
Yeah,
I
it's okay,
loved
of course.
so I love the fact that you're an interim manager specialized in basically IT. You're gonna tell us more about that in a minute. But at the same time, you travel the world as a tango DJ and as a tango dancer, which is mind blowing. Yeah, I love this about, all these interesting people one gets to talk to. So, do you want to tell us more? So, who are you? What do you do?
Yeah, sure, of course. Thank you. Thank you for having me, Sergiusz. So, as a background, I come from a geeky background, as you said. So, I have an analytical background. I'm a computer science engineer, and I started my career as such. And after that, I moved to more financial markets aspects, and I was in trading and asset management. And then I had the opportunity to look for coherences in my profile. So I took both sides and I went into risk management, consulting, and the final chapter that I'm at is in interim management, specialized, as you said, in transformation and digital transformations, in IT related subjects, in data related subjects, and in transformation in general. And on a personal side, yes, I fell into tango 10 years ago and it became a big passion of mine. And we will probably talk more about it because there is a lot of human aspects that are transferable to management in tango.
Yes, this is the feeling that I have that those different hobbies, and in your case, this fantastic one being tango dancing. These hobbies are in line with what our heart sort of cries out for us to want to be doing in our lives. So that means that says a lot about us, really. And
Yeah.
this is something, since we love it, then it probably is also visible in some other form in our professional life. Is it the case in your situation?
You're totally right. Yes. In terms of, for example, where I'm usually intervening is context of transformation and digital transformation. Transformation is not about the tools. It's about the people. It's about how the people are organized and how they organize themselves. And this is something very, very much happening when you are in a tango night, in a tango social night. People that have never met before, they come into the same room and music will be played, and these people that have never met have to agree first. Leaders and followers have to invite each other for the dance. They enter the floor. Couples are dancing together. And at the same time, the entire ballroom is moving. So it's like there is self organization, which is kind of a good image, a good analogy to how modern enterprises and companies should be functioning, in my point of view.
Yeah, this is a very interesting analogy, and I love how you put it. They have to sort of self-organize in order to move as a whole
Yeah,
in sync. So yeah, it is a good image because that's what we do in companies. We need to synchronize, and yet the good management practices are those that leave this autonomy to, well, do your dance within a
yeah.
certain reality. So is it also how you perform your transformations? Are there more analogies here?
Yes, you can take, for example, the idea of what the role of a tango DJ is. For example, in tango, we are dancing on music most of the time that was recorded in the 40s and the 50s. So that music is fixed in time. So your role as a DJ is to know how to put the right music at the right time. And basically, what you're doing is giving a vision to the people like, okay, now we are dancing this type of energy, this type of rhythm, this type of emotions that are in the lyrics or in the music. So when you give the people the vision, they will know how to self-organize. And I see this as an important also analogy between the dancing, the tango dancing and management in my point of view.
Yeah, that's a great image, really. I love it. Because yeah, we know that the vision part is important. Although vision and mission and purpose are words that are sort of laden today with negative connotations because of a whole industry of experts that would come in from the outside into companies and then make those people work on their purpose, and it was very far away from being a real lived purpose. And so these terms have bad connotations. And yet, we know that it is absolutely crucial to actually have something that is a shared vision, that is something that we all somehow experience together, that we're going in a certain direction, and there's some bigger idea behind it. Even if this bigger idea sometimes is very trivial, one would say, even if the bigger idea is just to survive, that's what we do
That's true.
often in the interim
Yeah.
management assignments, that's just a turnaround. So the big vision is let's,
Yeah.
I have someone crawling, crawling,
Ah, you have a visitor. A visitor. You have a
very funny.
visitor.
So, yeah, it's my girlfriend crawling around. So yeah, shared vision, which is the driving force behind an effort that is synchronized, even if it's trivial, as we were saying, like, for example, let's make this company work. And
Yeah.
even better, let's make this company work with us being satisfied, That
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
you go. That's a big vision. So vision and purpose are really important. But from your standpoint as an interim manager who works with digitalization and these sorts of layers of the organization, how important is vision there? How much can you actually create vision and purpose when you're in charge of this very technical aspect for some people?
Yeah, that's a very important question, Sergius, and you're mentioning especially two very important points. The one about the bad reputation that these words have, and this is exactly why an interim management posture is a little different from a consulting one. The consulting will give this perfect idea of what the vision should be, while as an interim management, you are there to make it happen. And when you are there to make it happen, you leave the perfection aspect and you look for what is feasible with the team you have and with the people you have. So this is a super important aspect of the answer for sure. In terms of vision, I have a simple rule. If you cannot explain your vision to someone in 5 minutes, your vision is too complex.
Hmm.
And it needs to be as basic as that in 5 minutes. And it's super important, especially in my field, which is usually we have the reputation of having a lot of jargon and that our jargon is obscure. So in order to make it possible to take you somewhere, the jargon has to be left outside of what the vision should be. People should be capable of repeating the vision and understanding what it means, everyone. And we have, especially in digital world, we have a particular responsibility because there was a moment where maybe 20 years ago, especially, where most of the transformation were led by the tool. We need to put a new ERP and we chose the vendor, the ERP arrives, and that's it. And that's the vision. And now we all know the vision cannot be a tool. The vision has to be strategic, it has to be business related, and the tool will come last. Sometimes the best tool is not what you should do. What I sometimes say, good is better than best sometimes. So this is a very important aspect. Know the team you have and how to work with it to create the right vision.
Yeah. So what would be a vision? Okay, you're coming in as an interim CIO
Yeah.
or whatever the role is. You can tell us more. And what kinds of visions can you produce then? Is this something that is new in the company? What would it be?
So first of all, I will talk business. I will sit with my CIOs, CEOs, sorry, and I will try to understand where he wants to take his company. This is the first step for me. And once we have defined that and clarified the strategic vision and have it worded in the right way, my role will be to translate it into, let's say, IT related actions. It can be pure IT, it can be data, which is an animal that is somewhere between business and IT. It's not exactly IT. In order to talk data, you need to understand IT, but you need also to understand what EBITDA is, what performance is, what KPIs are important to your business partners. So yes, the role is a role of translation, basically.
But so can you give me an example of like a definition of a vision that you have maybe used in some project?
So for instance, you can find, I can take an example from my previous experiences, a CEO that needed to take his company to the next level. He wanted to double his turnover. The business needs to grow, and he understood that whatever methods took him from 0 to 500 thousands didn't will not be the same that will take him over the million to the sorry 500 million to 1 billion. So in order to translate that, I needed to sit with my CEOs and CEO and understand how he is planning to, what is his vision in terms of what markets he wants to be. Will the growth be internal? Will it be diversification? What idea he has, strategically speaking. After that, my role is to translate that into an IT reality. So what we identified together is that he has a challenge in terms of organization. His current organization is not adaptable to what he's targeting, the current processes he's using, the data he needs to do. And then we ended up on a clear IT plan, like, okay, we are diversifying. Part of the growth will happen in diversification. Okay, then we need to find the right IT tools or IT softwares that can allow for this type of diversification. How can we consolidate easily our digital assets? How can we take our knowledge of supply chain for product A to translate it into product B? And how can I, as a chief data officer or a chief information officer, how can I contribute to this success? It starts with the business. It starts with the strategic view, and then at the end we finish with the tools.
So
This is
yeah, go ahead.
This is only the first part of the equation. This is how we build it with our business partners. The second part is my role is how to take my team, the IT team, into seeing this vision and adhering to it and self-governing to make it happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so that's clear. So you would then in the second part of this equation come to your team and say, okay, here's the vision. What do you tell them?
So the second part is to take, first of all, you have to know what resources you are working with. So I come as an interim manager. Usually we have very short time to understand what's going on. So you have to start your work with your business partners and at the same time with your team. So with your team, you have to ask them for, they know the business, okay? They know what they have been doing. You have to ask them about what is not working, but more importantly, you have to ask them about what they are proud of. What are we working? What is really working? What are we doing that is great? What I call the power of the bright spots. So what is very, very much happening and we are very performant on it. And then the second part is to start with that, to submit the vision to them, to try to see how can we translate it while using what we are strong at, and how can we change what we are not strong at. And my role in this is to listen, consolidate the knowledge, and then try to make sense of it as a plan. I'm just organizing the knowledge. The knowledge is there in the team. The team was there. They know their job. They know it even better than I do, since they have been there for a while, longer than I've been. So my idea is that what we will come up with as a plan should be something that we created together. So instead of the classical idea of I decide, the idea is that we build.
This is really interesting because, well, this is the heart of the progressive management approaches,
Yeah.
where you don't come in with something that you plays on the table and say, this is mine, and now it's got to be yours. You say, okay, let's build this together. So I love that. So you don't actually come with a vision. You come as a facilitator to co-create the vision that will then drive the efforts of the team.
Yes, I come with the business vision, but we create the IT vision that is in line with it. The thing is, Sergius, I reached that after failing miserably in doing differently, because
Yes.
once you understand that, I like to use the image of the rider, the elephant, and the path. I don't know if you know this one.
Yeah.
It's a classical change management idea. The rider needs to understand where you're taking him, but the elephant is way stronger, and the elephant is pure emotion. So if you're not talking to both of them at the same time, it's not gonna work. So imposing things on people doesn't work in the end. Control
Yeah.
doesn't create performance. So the idea is that we build it together. We build the IT translation of the vision together. And to be totally clear, I haven't found any strategy that is better than transparency in managing a
Mm.
team. No other strategy works. And I had to experience it during a very difficult mission where I had to restructure an IT department. So
Mm-hmm.
things were not working well, and we had to rethink everything, and sometimes to take hard decisions. And I was surprised by, when you tell the truth to people, hard decisions, they can understand it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a super important lesson that I had to learn during that.
I think this is one of those experiences that many of us managers have sooner or later, and it does not always result in a change of strategy or a change of heart and change of approach. So some managers, and we see them everywhere in our interim management assignments, some managers just continue sticking to the it should be secret because people won't understand, or people are not entitled to having the same level of information as us. There are lots of bad reasons for not being transparent. And oftentimes I even see managers who don't know they're not being transparent. It's so natural for them to
It's a
just speak
reflex.
of,
Yeah,
yeah, to
yeah.
just speak about management stuff, real strategic stuff. They have to do it behind closed doors because it's not for the consumption of normal people, which is absurd actually, because the normal people in the company are the ones who drive the activities. And if they don't understand what what the outlook is, if they don't understand why some decisions had to be made, if they can't even have any input into those decisions, there you go. You have this disconnect between the board and the rest of the people, and the board does not understand why the people
Are not doing
are
the job.
disengaged. And 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 here lies the simple truth: be open about stuff, just make people participate, listen to, take part in the discussions. There is nothing difficult about, confronting the fact that, well, the market is difficult. Yeah. And these are our options. And here's what we're going to try to do. And does anyone have any
Yeah.
ideas? It's so easy. And yet it is not being done. So yeah, so you had this aha moment, and now would you say you're using that always? Not always. You work with larger structures with data. There's secrecy around it. That there's security, things like that.
So I try my best to follow that, Sergius, because it's super important in in my point of view. It's important even for the success of the mission. And working with that means sometimes talking to even the sponsors of the missions, trying to convince them that, okay, people are not adhering with the vision. Maybe the vision is not clear enough. Maybe I'm a person that is very close to data, as a data fan and a data professional. So for me, if the vision is not translatable into clear KPIs, and not 100 of them, like 5 KPIs maximum, 5 clear KPIs that can allow us to know what progress we are making, then the vision needs to be worked on more. And then after that, those KPIs can be. This is what I do with my team. I try with them to build together what is a clear performance indicator of how are we progressing towards what is being asked of us. So if you
Mm-hmm.
don't tell the people what they need to optimize, or if you make mistakes on the KPIs, because you cannot tell someone in IT that the KPI is EBITDA. That doesn't make any sense to that person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So this is also part of the problem. As a manager, I had to also face a lot of ego on my side, because this is also, we need to mention that, Sergius. Sometimes as managers, we overestimate our, classical way of management, our importance, and we say, okay, this is the secret for me, and this information will stays with me because it's not for normal people's ears. And knowing how to get through that, and that your role as a manager is more about explaining the vision and motivating and building the trust, especially if you're intervening, as we most of the time do in crisis times. People will follow you because they trust you, because
Mm-hmm.
you talked to the rider and you explained the direction to him. You motivated and build the trust with the elephant, and then
Mm-hmm.
your role as a manager is to shape the path, basically, and
Mm-hmm.
to take them through that. And this is a super important for me principle.
I
You
think
are
there's
working
a
with humans. Yeah, sorry.
yes, and no, I'm just thinking that IT is a specific area because of the fact that agile practices have generated in software development.
Yeah,
So the concept of participation, consultation, not being only top down, boss driven, but discovering what at the level of cooperation between peers, including the expertise of the manager, but
yeah,
in a very flat sort of peer group to have this co-decision making and also to trust that the one doing the sprint and working on this particular task, he really does not need any input or any control or anything really before he ends his sprint, and then he can talk about it. These are practices that have basically originated in the world of IT. So I can also see in companies that somehow the IT people, although they're nerdy, yeah, so they're oftentimes they're introverts and they're not really
yes,
strong with people skills sometimes, and they don't tend to be the party animals, and yet they understand the progressive management practices because it's natural for them to just do their thing and take responsibility and not have to follow orders or instructions from some architect or someone. They're the ones doing the coding. So is this something that you also see in IT teams, that there's more readiness to be participative in the way of working?
yes, yes, totally. Because of all those software development practices that you're mentioning, we have this habit of being on a sprint and being focused on a very specific target, which is happening in 2 weeks, and it's okay, and we reach it, and then check. We do our retext about it, and if it failed, if something didn't go well, we face. We have this culture of facing and doing postmortem on stuff, and this is something that I'm trying to bring more and more to my business partners, to explain how we are working, and maybe some of it can. You don't need to be working on a software to think agile.
Mm-hmm,
For
mm-hmm,
instance, in many change efforts that I have experienced through my career as an interim manager, and even before, when I was more intervening as a consultant or as a software developer, many change efforts fail because we don't create quick wins. We go into a tunnel, a great strategic vision. We know where we are going. We will be the leader of the market in 3 years. This is how we're going to do it. The problem is, in order to drive the people to make this vision happen, they need to see quick wins. And quick wins happen because of agile methods, not because we go into the classical way of doing a project, like we prototype and we spend hours and weeks working on the perfect solution that we will implement, and nobody sees results. So this culture of the quick win is super important, because this is what keeps the flow going and what keeps everyone believing into the vision and
mm-hmm,
believing that, yeah, they are doing the right way. And in addition to that, to this, what you mentioned earlier, we are looking for teams that are more autonomous. In IT, we have this culture of having, you don't need to, my team doesn't need to call me to decide which line of code they will be writing. As long as we agreed on the objective of the day, the objective of the day is done. They are the experts on their field. So this part of autonomy happens because you let initiative happen because people understand what is the target. So yes, there is a lot to take from the modern IT practices to
Yeah.
make them yeah.
Yeah, I feel this is a bunch of people. You don't have to explain, you know, decentralized models of management, because it's just a natural way of working. But of course, there are limitations. Sometimes I have also experienced managers who still keep their very top-down approach because it's a source of power for other reasons than it is necessary to drive results. Yeah, but that's a whole other topic. So to wrap up, is there one major thought on management that you would like to share? What would be like your most important insight about what is the key to
For me, the key to good management is to keep in mind that the classical way of thinking of a manager as the superhero needs to be forgotten. And today we need to talk about and celebrate more team victories, and not the single savior complex that some managers are still having. And we
Yes.
need to celebrate team victories more. This is a super important takeaway from my career and the failures I experimented also as a member of teams and as a manager. The second idea that I would like to maybe finish on, it's again the importance of the vision. And we say in French that there is no favorable wind for a boat that doesn't have a destination. So if the vision is not clear, if we don't know where we are going, there's nothing that can help us get there. So, and this doesn't apply only to the C-suite. It has to go down, and everything has to be declined into understandable words for everyone.
Yes, really, really insightful. I love how you put it. Also, because sometimes as interim managers, we also face this projection from the clients and the teams that sort of they expect us to come in as a savior, or they really don't want our help because they think we come as a savior, and this is really not the way to
Yeah,
do it.
no.
So yeah, good insight there. Okay, Maxime, super to have you here. Thank you very much for this interesting conversation. And yeah, let's back to it. I don't know, maybe after your current project, you'll tell us more
Yeah,
about the challenges you had there.
it was a pleasure. Thank you, Sergius, for having me, and thank you for letting me share all these important ideas.
Yes, thank you very much. See you.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.